Hi, and welcome to the Sage X3 session. Is my auto journal up to date and out of the box? So in today's session, we're going to look at what is an auto journal, naming conventions for custom auto journals, using the auto journal comparison tool to detect changes, upgrades in the auto journal, and protecting the auto journals. So what is an auto journal? Now, auto journals are found under Setup Financial Accounting Interface Automatic Journals. And from the online help, we learn the function is used to define the structure of the journals that must be posted for all modules. So basically, they are behind those debits and credits when you post transactions. And because these impact our financials, we want to be able to verify that the auto journals include the latest updates. We want to be able to identify customizations. We want to know how, why do they differ from the standard? Let's look at the naming convention for custom auto journals. Ideally, when auto journals are customized, they would have a new entry code. And the convention for the new custom auto journals is to begin with the letter Y or Z. Now, auto journals starting with the letter X are for add-ons, like import tracking. So here's an example. We customize SIHI, Customer Invoice Sales, and we're going to call it ZSIHI. And there you have it in the automatic journal. The entry code is now ZSIHI. A very simple change to make. So let's look at the auto journal comparison tool. How can I tell if an auto journal was changed and a new entry code was never created? Well, the auto journal comparison tool, CMPGAU, can be used to identify these differences. It's located under Setup Financials Accounting Interface. And typically it's run from the X3 reference folder. Usually we are comparing the X3 folder's auto journals to those of the production seed or test. Now let's take a minute here to discuss the X3 folder. The X3 folder is our gold standard. We don't change auto journal screens, windows, anything on it. It's what we have to use as a reference. It's what we want to fall back on, and we can compare to. Folders have to be in the same environment when you do the comparison. We can't go across servers. Now, what we can do is compare both back to their own X3 folder and then review the differences. So if it's a difference on one X3 folder, it'll be a difference on another X3 folder. And don't do this manually. There are just too many lines, too many fields to do this manually. Okay, so now we're over in X3 and I'm on the seed folder right now. I just want to show you a little change I made to the automatic journal. It's under Setup Financials. Down here, the automatic journal. And look at the lines here. There are an awful lot of lines to check out to see if there's any changes to them. And there's lines, there's formulas. It can be quite overwhelming. So I just made a simple change. on line 10, let's go to the General tab. Down here, I made a change in the condition, and I said, made this change. So I'm going to log out of here. I've already saved this. Log out of here. Now I'm going to switch over to the X3 folder. Okay. Click my little compass. Now I like to collapse all. It helps me, closes this up so I don't accidentally roll past what I want to view. I go here to Setup. I want to go to Financials. Expand it. Expand that. And I'm going to go into the Automatic Journal Comparison. Now, my source is going to be the X3 folder. Remember, that's my gold standard. Okay, and I'm going to compare it to my seed folder. And I'm doing a one-on-one comparison. Now, if I had a customization version of this, I could compare that down to here to the custom version. So let's go, we just click OK, and it's going to generate a log of all our differences. Well, we look at this log and it says there are 653 lines. So some of them are quite benign, just the date and time that they were done. And let's see, here it shows I'm comparing X3 to seed. Got some differences in what legislations. And this shows me here, this is line 10, condition. There is nothing on the X3 folder, but there is this on my seed folder. And then it just goes down like that for pages and pages. Again, some of them are simply the differences between times when they were updated. And then you have other things like the change I made. So, we go there, go out of there. Now, if I close that before I meant to, I can always, of course, rerun it, or I can come down to here, reports, reports, and log reading. And I can go in here. And you can see I've done this a couple of times. But there we go. And there's my log. So you never lose it. You can always run it again. So let's talk about upgrades and the auto journal. Auto journals are not automatically updated during upgrades. The auto journals must be copied from the X3 folder to the production folder after upgrading. That's why it's so important that we leave the X3 folder, our gold standard, as is. Use the auto journal comparison tool prior to copying to check for any customizations that you might want to maintain. And you might want to create a custom auto journal code to maintain those customizations that you find rather than just throwing them back into an existing code. If anticipated auto journal changes don't appear to be there, use the comparison tool to verify that they were updated. Let's talk about protecting your auto journals. Auto journals are behind the debits and credits from modules to your general ledger. That makes them pretty important. So limit who has access to the automatic journals. You don't want someone either accidentally going in there and changing them or thinking they have a great idea how these could work better. Maintain a log of changes made to the automatic journals. Reference the date modified so that in that rare occasion something goes wrong, you have a starting point. And include the purpose behind the changes. At upgrade time, consider if the custom changes are still necessary. And periodically run the automatic journal comparison tool to ensure no undocumented changes have been made. Thank you for attending this session. Until next time.